Welcome. So glad y'all were able to join us here at Malvern Books for Novel Night. I'm the manager here, Becky Garcia, and we just want to really thrilled to have everyone here. It's lined up to be a great program tonight, and so we just want to take care of a couple of things. First of all, I apologize for the heat. Our AC has kind of been on it's just decided to take a vacation. And the AC that does work is so noisy that we have to turn it off for a while because you'd never be able to hear with it on. So I do apologize for that. As you've seen, we have refreshments. Please feel free to help yourself to those. And there is the bathroom over here in case you need it. And we'll just leave it unlocked tonight. You can go ahead and as soon as you close the door, it'll lock behind you. So just in case you need it, it's over there. So we'll have 2 readers tonight. Then we're going to be doing a Malvern book staff. We'll do a book talk. And then we'll be having a prose open mic if there's anyone who would like to read some of their own prose. So our first reader is Chris Brown. Chris Brown writes science fiction and criticism in Austin, where he also practices technology law. He was nominated for the World Fantasy Award in 2013 for 3 Messages and a Warning, Contemporary Mexican Short Stories of the Fantastic, an anthology he co-edited with Eduardo Jiménez Mayo. His stories and essays frequently focus on issues at the nexus of technology, politics, and economics. Notable recent work has appeared in the Baffler, the MIT Technology Review Anthology, 12 Tomorrows, Review, Literature, and Arts of the Americas, 25 Minutos en el Futuro, Nueva Ciencia, I better just stop there. I'm doing pretty good, I think I'll stop right there. And the New York Review of Science Fiction, and Rayguns Over Texas. And he will be reading tonight from Rayguns Over Texas.
Ciencia Ficcion, which is different than science fiction and different than Mexican science fiction. It's Ciencia Ficcion. If you ask the Mexican writers of it, they make a big point of that. So thanks for having me. I try to write science fiction that has maybe some literary chops to it. There are very few places in the world where those two things often go together. It's nice to have a hospitable environment for that here between Conan's and Oat Willie's, which represent 2 kind of other modes of the fantastic. So I'm going to read 2 brief excerpts, one from this Rayguns Over Texas anthology, and the editor of that anthology, Rick Claw, is here. He might speak briefly about the book more broadly when I finish, and then I'll read one other thing. So the first is my story from Rayguns Over Texas, which was an honorable mention for in the year's best science fiction last year. And it's kind of business punk, if you will. It's a story about near future investment bankers who are in the business of buying and selling countries in a world that's collapsing, which I feel like is kind of where we pretty much are right now. And so this is, both of the scenes I'm going to read are scenes of science fiction set in Austin. And this is one wherein our protagonist, this banker who has his deal falling apart, is visiting friends in Austin who have their own deal falling apart. That night I got together with my buddies in Austin to watch the vote. They had their own idea of the pregame. "Oh no, I don't want to watch another one of your marionette shows," I said as I plopped myself down on the sofa between Annie and Chaz, in front of the big screen they had flashed on the wall. VJ and Clarice were laughing already before I started pitching. I looked at the scene on the screen. Retail surveillance from the Kaufstrasse in Munich. People walking on their lunch breaks or whatever, letting their earbuds and tablets and blue rings tell them where to go and what to buy. Waylaid, lured, and consensually hoodwinked by hundreds of ethereal proximity bots. "Santa doesn't like it when you rig the Christmas lists," I said. "We're the ones in charge of the other 364 days, said Chaz. Green text, red arrows, and yellow highlights overlaid the scene, revealing the matching algorithms at work. "Fucking data miners. You're why I have to clean my chips every night before I go to bed." "We're ambient advertisers, Tony," said Annie. "We match people with the things they want in life. We don't need ethics lectures from investment bankers." "Look closely," said VJ. "This new algorithm Clarice wrote in Chaz tune is amazing." "Right, but I came to watch it dissect the referendum," I said, "and have some of Clarice's chicken masala estilo Jalisco." "I forgot," said VJ. "It's Cushmeg's night." Chaz went for the mezcal. "I just think it's nice to see we still have something on our Teutonic overlords," he said. The Frankfurters are the ones with our bonds, I said, not the Bavarians. And the pendulum always swings back through equilibrium. Annie spit out her drink. Last time I checked, the pendulum came loose from its mooring and knocked over half the remaining banks, she said. But we're still swinging, laughed VJ. VJ changed the channel and the wall screen quadrupled in size. Vote tallies by precinct and network, detailed issue briefings and video and text on each of the matters up for ballot. 4 channels of color commentary from different orientations if you wanted it. The votes were monthly. The democracy was direct, more or less, and the exercise of the franchise was still optional. Geez, this is so much work, said Chaz. I liked it better when you showed up every few years and checked the box for Coke or Pepsi. And had your life run by 435 self-aggrandizing geezers wearing identical suits, said Annie. Tony's right. We should be doing political work. Help make it easier for people. I guess the idea of a new constitutional convention is kind of cool, said Chaz. I just find it kind of creepy the way it's like a combination of a city council live stream and America's hot talent. It was 3 years now since the aftershock. The aftershock was the economic event that followed by about 18 months, the event we had considered the greatest crash in American economic history, when the big bubble on which the city on a hill had been built collapsed like an Oklahoma fracking sinkhole. The crash was bad, but the aftershock was what broke the political system, exposing the varicose veins and clotted embolisms hiding under the pancake makeup of the animatronic boneheads left as stewards of the Republic 250 plus years after we buried the founding fathers. Once we pulled the thread on Uncle Sam's sweater, he got naked in a hurry. Under the new regime that assembled in the following 2 years of elections, 3/4 of the states petitioned for our social contract to be written in a convention that would be conducted as an experiment in network-based participatory democracy. Yes, we were kind of figuring it out as we went along, which is true of fiction writing as it's true of life. So now I want to read something a little different. It has a little bit a different intensity level that's from an upcoming anthology called Stories for Chip that'll be coming out next month that I'm hoping the store will carry. It's an anthology put together by Rosarium Press, another science fiction and fantasy small press that's devoted to the work of, and sort of a tribute to the work of Samuel R. Delany, who's a great African-American science fiction writer and kind of really the inventor of like the marriage of experimental literature and science fiction. It's certainly the only anthology I've been in with Junot Diaz, and has works by Nalo Hopkinson, Nick Harkaway, who's the science fiction writer, who's the son of John le Carré. Interesting book. So this is a brief scene from a story about some young people who come to Austin for a music festival. It's kind of a network-mediated music festival and get steered off in a very different direction. There are hipsters on horses here. The first one they see is a guy in selvage jeans and a hat like you might see an Australian wear in a war movie. The dude has a mustache that looks like it gets almost as much attention as the horse. The horse is big, mostly black. They see more as they walk along the long blocks to produce from the spot where they parked their car. The riders tower over the pedestrians. Everyone smiles at them. The idea is still new. 2 women ride Appaloosas. Eden knows this because she had plastic toy Appaloosas as a child. One woman wears leather motorcycle pants and a sleeveless t-shirt that shows off her art. The other has a wrinkled chambray button-down and waxed leggings. Chaps, says Marley. It's like a post-apocalyptic western, says Eden. She wonders when the whimsy will run out. Nick tells them about it, relating what his glasses tell him. How the municipal code expressly permits horses on the road, a relic of old times purposely protected in anachronistic pride. How nobody ever really took advantage of it until a year or so ago, when the owner of a bar on the east side opened up a stable in the property next door. They were talking about making them put crap catchers on the backs of the horses. They were talking about taking the idea to other cities, organizing cross-country trips that follow old trails. They stand right next to one of the horses waiting to cross the boulevard. You can hear it breathe. It draws flies. Eden is thinking about touching it when the sirens come. Police on motorcycles, windscreens flashing, pull up to the crowd waiting to cross and block the way. Their machines emit a horrible tone, a flat electronic cut, crazy loud, designed to cut off all other thought. The horse next to them freaks out, rumbles and neighs. The hipster in the saddle does not handle his horse like a guy in a western. Patrol cars follow, traveling fast, escorting 2 black Suburbans. As they pass through the intersection, they slow just enough that you can see inside. The bright sun penetrates the tinted windows. He is sitting in the back seat of the first Suburban, talking, oblivious to the crowd. You've seen the profile 1,000 times. Beltran. Beltran, screams someone in the crowd. Fucker! Fascist! Turn the eyes on Beltran. Somebody throws something at him. A full bottle of beer. It breaks across the unbreakable glass shielding Beltran's face. He looks out at the people. The motorcade accelerates. Except for the last Suburban. It diverts, pulling up between the 2 motorcycles. Men in suits get out of the Suburban carrying guns. The kind of guns that take 2 hands to carry. Black metal. Move back, says the disembodied machine voice of the Suburban. The motorcycle patrolmen dismount. They pull little wands from their belts, crack them with flicks of the wrist, turn them into metal whips. The motorcycle cops wear jodhpurs and riding boots. The Suburban emits that tone again. It's like the sound your phone makes sometimes, the citizen emergency alert. The tone is designed to make humans freeze and obey. That's what Nick says later when he asks his wearable. Nothing about what it does to horses, especially when men are coming at them with guns and truncheons. The horse next to Eden rears. It's a crazy thing to see from that close. The horse ejects its hipster. People are screaming. Boys are screaming. Girls are yelling at cops to stop. Pop! A suit fires a shot into the air. Another horse bolts, runs right through the intersection for the trees of a traffic island on the other side. The horse next to Eden comes right down on the motorcycle cop who is yelling at it with a metal whip in his hand. Knocks him down hard. You can hear his helmet hit the pavement. Then you hear the sound of hoof on helmet. Brrrr! Machine gun burst from one of the suits. The horse stumbles, goes down. People start running in every direction. Eden runs behind the 24 Mart, into the weeds grown up around the fence at the base of the cell phone tower. She hides in there for what seems like forever, but isn't. There are sheets of paper on the ground, abandoned homework. 1776. They are teaching little kids about revolution. I'll stop there. Thank you. So, Rick Claude, you want to talk briefly about this anthology and what else you have in there?
Sure. I'll be real brief. See, there's Jessica sneaking out. Afraid I'm going to bring her up. This is Rayguns Over Texas. It's a collection of 19 original stories by Texas writers. Oddly, 7 of the stories were what you would call business punk stories. And it was an accident. I didn't ask anybody to give me one. One of the stories is by Derek Johnson, the business punk. Derek's right here. And Jessica Reisman, who did not write a business punk story, but she wrote an amazing story. She did an event here about 2 months ago, and read from this book also. It's all original fiction. 2 stories are reprints, and it was basically done for the World Science Fiction Convention in, was it 2 years ago?
In San Antonio.
In San Antonio. And Texas has a long history of science fiction, going back to right after the Civil War. One of the first English language science fiction stories was published here. It's in this book, actually. It's this woman that published it in Galveston to fill space in the Galveston paper because they suddenly had no room for news. They had no news because there was no Civil War. And so they had to fill in the paper with something. And so she wrote this fiction story about a guy who goes, 500 years to the future. And it's a utopian type of story. And, what happens. We've all
Is it a
seen
utopia in Texas?
Yeah, no, it's not actually.
Because Texas must be dystopian.
Yeah, yeah. But that's actually in this book, too. There's several Texas dystopians in here.
All right. That's worth the price alone.
Well, yeah. It's a great story about the dinosaurs coming back. Mark Finn wrote a great story about drug runners.
Narcos with dinosaurs?
Yeah.
All right. I like that.
Yeah, you're in the book, remember?
Yeah.
And don't read his bio in this book. It's awful. I was reading the bio before I came in here, and you sound like the dullest man alive in this bio. And Chris is fascinating. Fascinating man. And his stuff is amazing to read. And I published one of your earliest stories in Revolution SF.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. We met at a writer's workshop, and I loved his work. But anyway, the stories in this book are pretty amazing. I say so myself. Even though I handpicked them all. And if y'all don't like everything in it, it's okay. That would be scary because then you'd be me. And really, there's enough of me in the world.
All right.
But you should get the book, if nothing else, for Chris's story, which he read from. And it's a great little tale.
All right.
But thank you all.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Are there any questions for either Rick or for Chris?
What
Yeah,
are you
Kelly.
working on now?
So I have a book I just finished that I'm shopping, and that's a story about a revolution in the United States, actually, and kind of an alternate present, and that I'm getting pretty good reaction to now. We're just kind of getting going on selling that, and working on another book, which is a kind of a even more kind of grounded in reality, sort of a business story about kind of about some people caught up in the commercial space technology business, and sort of exploring these issues around these like technology tycoons that are sort of the people that play a huge role in our lives, and about people living in that world. Yeah.
Well, Chris, while you might deal with some topics that are realistic and stuff, I would never term your works as being reality. They're usually kind of free-floating reality.
Well, that's true of all fiction, right? I mean, every fictional universe is an alternate reality, right? So I think, whether it's, a cop show or some outrageous, science fiction set in, 5,000 years in the future. So, Kelly, are you?
Or anything else? Anybody else? Another question?